Hello viewers and students, this is lecture 2 of the strength of material series and it is part B of that series. We have already covered part A, and in part B what topic I am going to cover, let's see the concept summary. So the topic is principal stresses and strain, and the concept summary which we have already covered in part A are axial loading, biaxial loading, principal plane, principal stress, why we need principal planes and principal stresses. This was very important. And in part B, we will cover stress transformation equations, stresses on an oblique section of a body, major principal stress and minor principal stress, maximum shear stress, position of various planes, and at the end of this chapter, we will deal with some numericals. So beginning with the stress transformation equation, as the name suggests, it is an equation which transforms from one plane to another. It's a general equation through which you can change the angle theta and the stress will be transformed from one plane to another plane. Now we are considering here by stresses on an oblique section of a body subjected to a direct stresses in perpendicular directions accompanied by a simple shear, and this can also be in short said as biaxial stress system with shear. So this can also be said as biaxial stress system with shear. Now this element I am considering, this can be said as cross section of any body. In this element sigma x, sigma y has been acted, and these two stresses are positive and tensile away from the body, and on this element all the faces on this element shear stress being acted depending upon whether it is clockwise or anti-clockwise. The clockwise taken to be positive, we already know and we have discussed in part A of this lecture, and there is minus tau xy which is anti-clockwise direction. Now we have taken an arbitrary plane at an angle theta measured from side BC on an x-axis and in clockwise direction, and on this arbitrary plane we have considered two stress sigma n and sigma t. Since we do not know what type of stresses are present, so we assume that there will be two stresses sigma n and sigma t are present, and we made equation accordingly. And what we have to do, we have to find sigma n and sigma t, general equation of sigma n and general equation of sigma t, and you can also find resultant of sigma n and t, which is sigma r. So this is what we intended to find, and if the plane varies with respect to the theta, then sigma n and sigma t will also vary with respect to theta. One key important thing which we have to angle through which the plane is being measured. So in my case I have measured from x-axis, this is x-axis, and in clockwise direction. So this thing is very important before beginning the analysis of this biaxial system with shear or finding the general equation of sigma n and sigma t. Now we all know that sign convention we have already considered, and what sign convention we have considered, that clockwise is taken to be positive like this, and you can see plus tau xy, and plus on the face of AB and on the face of sigma x here is plus tau xy is clockwise, and minus tau xy at sigma y is anti-clockwise. So the green is anti-clockwise and the blue is clockwise. Now stresses on an oblique section of a body, and this is a cut section of that plane which we have already considered ABC. So this is the cut section of that plane, and you can see the important thing which I wanted to show in this section is unit thickness, and the thickness of this plane inside my screen or inside the plane of paper is unit. So this we are assuming, and this we are taking to simplify our equations, and how we are going to simplify we will see in the coming slide. So first we have to consider that the thickness of this element which we have considered is unit. It may be 1 mm, it may be 1 meter, it may be 1 centimeter. So we are considering unit thickness, and again on the face AC sigma x as well as plus tau xy is acting, and on face BC sigma y and minus tau xy is acting, and we wanted to find what is happening here. Since we do not know what type of stresses are present, so we arbitrarily assume sigma n and sigma t or tau. So we wanted to know what effects of sigma x tau xy and sigma y minus tau xy are being created at this plane, because there are so many instances in engineering where the material not fail from surface but fail from bulk. So that's why we wanted to know what is happening, what type of stresses are being present on this plane. And since we do not know, again I am repeating, we assume that there is a perpendicular stress on the surface sigma n, and tangential stress on the surface, which is sigma t or tau. Now the forces on an oblique section of a body, as you can see, P1 equals to sigma x AC into 1, P2 equals to tau xy, P2 equals to tau xy AC into 1, P3 equals to sigma y BC into 1, P4 equals to tau xy BC into 1, Pn equals to sigma n AB into 1, P2 equals to tau AB into 1. And you must be wondering why I have multiplied by 1, and this the very obvious answer is that since we have considered this unit thickness, now we know that force equals to stress into area. The area of this plane will be AC multiplied by this length, so this will be AC into length, and the force P2 is given as shear stress tau xy multiplied by AC into 1. So why AC into 1? Because this side multiplied by this side. So this is a rectangle, so we are considering this area, and that's why we have taken unit thickness, and further we will write AC into 1 equals to AC. And similarly, you can see here we have taken P3, which is the force downside. It is sigma y. The sigma y is the stress present on this axis, BC into 1. Similarly, P4, which is the tangential stress on BC, is tau xy BC into 1, which is this plane, multiplied by, that is BC multiplied by this unit thickness. And in the same way, Pn and sigma t, you can see the normal force, which is due to which sigma n is being produced. The normal force equals to sigma n AB into 1. AB, you can see AB is this length multiplied by unit thickness this. So the area of this plane will be AB into 1. So we get Pn equals to sigma n AB into 1. And in the same way, at last, Pt equals to tau, which is the shear stress, and shear stress being created due to shear force Pt. So Pt equals to shear stress multiplied by AB into 1. Again, AB into 1 is the area. Now forces along section ABC can be extended further, and so we can calculate P1 can be written as sigma x AC into 1. The arrow sign shows that it is in left direction, so it is in this direction, sigma x. P2, again arrow sign shows that it is in up direction, so P2 is in this direction, tau xy into AC. P3 is sigma y into BC. You can see sigma y multiplied by this BC, so it is in the arrow is in down, so it is in downside. And at last, P4, which is tau xy BC into 1, and in the right direction, so this is the shear on this BC. So 2 are a direct stress and 2 perpendicular direct stress, and 2 are shear stress on both the faces AC and BC. Now resolving the forces, these P1, P2, P3 forces along the plane AB and perpendicular to the plane AB. Again, this is a triangle, which is the same triangle, which is the same triangular element which we have considered earlier, ABC. It is the same triangle ABC. Now, since we all know that P1 is in left direction, P2 is upside, P3 is downside, and P4 is right side. So accordingly, we have taken the component of this P1 along and perpendicular direction in a way as we do in mechanics. That is P1, one component is in cos side and one component is of sine. So P1 cos theta is being taken here and P1 sin theta is taken here. Similarly for P2, this is cos and this is sine. So P2 sin theta and P2 cos theta. And in the same way, P3 you can write here P3 as two components of these two forces, which is P3 cos theta. So this is theta and P3 sin theta. Same way, P4 you can write P4 sin theta and P4 cos theta. One more thing, since this is the perpendicular normal stress in this direction, so we have considered Pn, which is the force or it is the responsible force for sigma n. So Pn is the responsible force due to sigma n. So I am considering Pn plus P2 cos theta plus P4 sin theta with respect to their desired direction. And similarly, since we have assumed that sigma t is in this direction, so Pt, which is the tangential force and which is responsible for sigma t tangential or tau stress, so Pt is in this direction, so Pt plus P4 cos theta plus P3 sin theta. And if you are still confused, then you can see this diagram. So tau has been created in this direction and sigma n, so Pn is being created, is been assumed in this direction. So if you want to see, you can see Pn is being assumed in this direction and Pt is being assumed in this direction. And Now what we have to do, since the whole element is in equilibrium, neither it is moving upside, downside, nor it is rotating, so as per Newton's law, all the forces along these brown lines are in equilibrium. So what we do, we will balance all these forces, opposite forces, and we will form an equilibrium, and that's what we have done. Equilibrium equation resolving the forces perpendicular to the section AB. So what we done, Pn plus P2 cos theta plus P4 sin theta equals to P1 sin theta plus P3 cos theta. You can see here in this equation, Pt plus P4 cos theta plus P3 sin theta is being equated to P1 cos theta plus P2 sin theta, and similarly along this equation. So what we get, first we have calculated Pn, and Pn we get P1 sin theta plus P3 cos theta minus P2 cos theta minus P4 sin theta, and similarly for Pt we get P1 cos theta plus P2 sin theta minus P4 cos theta and minus P3 sin theta. So first we have equated, and then we have form the equation for Pn and Pt, and we wanted to calculate sigma n and sigma t. That's why we are forming the equation for Pn and Pt. And you can see, putting the value of P1, which we have already, we know that P1 equals to sigma x into AC, P2 equals to sigma tau xy into AC, and P3 equals to sigma y into BC, and P4 here is sigma y into BC, P4 here is tau xy into BC. And if you are still not know what, where, how this P1 P2 I have written, you can see this equation. This equation, P1 equals sigma x into AC, P2 equals to tau xy into AC, and P3 equals to sigma y into BC, and P4 equals to sigma x into BC. So equation 1, 2, 3, 4. So values from P1 of P1, P2 and P3 and P4 is being put from equation number 1, 2 and 3 and 4 in this equation. So we finally get Pn of this equation, and for the Pt we get this equation. Now we wanted to calculate, as we have already know, we wanted to know what the normal stress along the AB and tangential stress normal stress along the AB and tangential stress along the AB. So sigma n equals to Pn upon AB, and AB is the area since thickness is taken to be unit. So AB into 1 is AB. So Pn upon AB equals to sigma x, putting the value of sigma x which we have earlier derived, divided by AB, rearranging terms and using trigonometrical identities, and finally we solve for sigma n, which is our equation number 5, and we get this equation, sigma n equals to sigma x plus y by 2 minus sigma x minus sigma y by 2 cos 2 theta minus tau xy sin 2 theta, and this is the same equation. So I have shown the triangle here, the elemental triangle which we are considering, and this is sigma what we wanted to calculate, and this is the general equation of sigma n. And you can see the sigma n is dependent on sigma x, sigma y, tau xy and theta of the that is the angle of the plane which we have taken. So theta is the angle of the plane, so the plane which we have already taken. So if sigma x, sigma y are and tau xy are constant, which normally don't change if you apply sigma x, sigma y and tau xy, then these are almost constant, so they don't change in with one element. So you can see the sigma n is a function of theta, that is the angle of the plane. As the angle of the plane changes, sigma n also changes. So this is very important. Sigma n is the function of angle of the plane. Now we wanted to know about sigma t, which is tau. So sigma t equals to tau equals to Pt upon AB. Again, force upon area, shear stress equal force upon area, putting the value of Pt divided by AB, rearranging the terms and using trigonometrical identities, we get tau or sigma t, which is this tau wanted to calculate along AB, and this is a general equation of tau, and this is our equation number 6. And you can see this is our equation number 6. Tau equals to sigma x minus sigma y by 2 into sin 2 theta minus tau xy cos 2 theta. And again in this triangle, this is tau along the shear stress along AB, and since we know that sigma x, sigma y, tau xy are constant, so tau is again a function of theta, or you can say it is the function of angle of the plane. As the angle of the plane changes, tau also changes, or you can say shear stress along the plane also changes. So shear stress along this plane AB as well as normal stress along the AB, they both change as per their angle, as per the angle of the plane. To find out position of the principal plane, and we know the very condition, the very mathematical condition for principal plane is it is the plane at which there is no shear stress. So I have put mathematical condition here, which is sigma t or tau. Sigma t can be said as tangential or tau is the shear stress. They both are same. So putting the value of the equation of sigma t equals to 0, we can get the position of principal plane. It is that plane where there is no tau, where there is no shear and only normal stress is being present. So what I am doing here, I am putting tau equals to 0. So this is the general equation of tau we have just derived, and putting the equation 0, and we get the angle tan 2 theta p, and you can see these angles are plus and minus, so there will be two angles representing this value of 10, and if you take tan inverse you will get two angles. One angle as if one plane is at theta to 2 theta p, then other plane will be 2 theta p plus 180. So there will be two angles, and what two angles are, you can see in this triangle. First we have taken minus sign, and then we have taken plus sign, and this triangle is being created. This is 2 theta p1 and 2 theta p2. So two angle will be there, and so you can say that there will be two planes at which shear stress is 0. The position of principal plane means there will be two planes. One plane will be at an angle 2 theta p1 or theta p1, and another plane will be at an angle theta p2 at which there will be no shear at all. So from this triangle we can also calculate sine 2 theta p1 and cos 2 theta p1, and in this triangle we can also calculate sine 2 theta p2 as well as cos 2 theta p2, and that's what we have done here. We have calculated sine 2 theta p1 and cos 2 theta p1 and sine 2 theta p2 and cos 2 theta p2. So if we wanted to calculate which is the maximum principal stress and minimum principal stress, then we have to put these values. So first, using this value we will get the maximum principal stress. Now you can see the maximum or the major principal stress, which is sigma p1, and we know that sigma, since we know that sigma n, we just have derived equation number 5, that sigma n equals to sigma x plus sigma y by 2 minus sigma x minus sigma y by 2 into cos 2 theta minus tau xy sine 2 theta, and putting the value of cos 2 theta p1 and sine 2 theta p1 for a plane where again tau equals to 0, that is the principal plane. Therefore the maximum principal stress will be given as, now putting the value of this cos 2 theta p1 and sine 2 theta p1 and solving for, and finally we get this equation. So this is the major principal stress, or you can say maximum principal stress, and it is represented by sigma p1 here I have shown, and this value of sigma p1 equals sigma x plus sigma y by 2 plus under root sigma x minus sigma y by 2 का whole square plus tau xy whole square. Similarly, we can also calculate minor principal stress, and here for this we have to put the value of cos 2 theta p2 or sine 2 theta p2 first. Since we have first put 2 theta p1, now we have to put 2 theta p2 for the plane where sigma t or tau equals to 0, and we have put the value here, you can see here, and again rearranging the terms, and we get the minimum principal stress, and the minimum principal stress is sigma p2 equals to sigma x plus sigma y by 2 minus under root sigma x minus sigma y by 2 whole square plus tau square xy, and you can see it is almost similar to the sigma p1 equation. So both the equation are almost same. The only difference between is this sign, and we know that sigma p1 is sigma x plus sigma y by 2. This is a similar equation. The only difference between these two equation is plus minus. So you can say in major principal stress you have to use here plus, and in minor principal stress, minimum principal stress, you have to use minus. So this is the only difference. This is the maximum principal stress on one plane, and this is the minimum principal stress on another plane. The only difference between these two equations is here you are using plus sign and here you are using minus sign. Now to calculate maximum shear stress, we know that the shear stress or tensile stress is given, which the equation which we have already derived in equation number 6, which is given as tau equals to sigma x minus sigma y by 2 into sine 2 theta minus tau xy into cos 2 theta. And mathematically the condition for maxima minima is d tau upon d theta equals to 0, and since shear stress, tau is the function of theta, so we should differentiate shear stress with respect to theta so that we can get the maximum and minimum value of shear stress. And after differentiating the same equation, we get this equation. Finally solving it, and we get tan theta 2 theta s equals to sigma y minus sigma x upon 2 tau. Now theta s is the angle of that plane where shear stress is maximum. So theta s is the angle of that plane where shear stress is maximum, and again we will get two values of tan theta, one for theta s and one for 90 plus theta s, and similarly sin theta s is given as plus minus sigma y minus sigma x under root sigma y minus sigma x का whole square minus 4 tau square, and similarly cos 2 theta s is given as plus minus 2 tau upon under root sigma y minus sigma x का whole square minus 4 tau square. So we will put this cos 2 theta, the value of sin 2 theta s and cos 2 theta s in this equation, tau equals to sigma x minus sigma y by 2 sin 2 theta minus tau xy cos 2 theta. So we put the value of sin 2 theta s and cos 2 theta s in this equation, and we get this value of sigma x, and this is the value expression for maximum shear stress plus minus under root sigma x minus sigma y by 2 का whole square plus tau square xy. Now plus denote for clockwise direction and minus denote for anti-clockwise direction. And one important thing is that this formula is same which was the second half part of the maximum principal stress or minimum principal stress. So coming to the position of various planes. So since we have derived the equation of sigma n and tau, we must also check these equations whether they are giving correct result or not. So for this we have to know about position of various planes, and for this we know that if the plane is parallel to the x-axis, then theta equals to 0. Putting the value of theta equals to 0 in equation number 5, which is the expression of sigma n normal stress, and we know that sin 0 equals to 0 and cos 0 equals to 1. Solving it, and we finally get sigma n equals to sigma y. So the normal stress at theta equals to 0 is sigma y, and similarly the tangential stress at theta equals to 0 is tau equals to minus tau xy, minus sign denote that it is anti-clockwise. So let's check whether this plane is whether it is significant or not. So if the plane again parallel to axis theta equals to 0, so since this is the general plane, and after putting theta equals to 0 we get finally this plane. Now you can see that at this plane theta, this is the plane where theta equals to 0, and at this plane sigma n equals to sigma y and tau equals sigma t equals to minus tau, which is the desired result and which we are applying. Since so our equations are giving correct result, since at this plane or at this plane we are applying sigma y and minus tau, and accordingly the equations are giving the same result. So that the equation which we have derived are giving correct result. Once more we can check by putting theta equals to 90 degree. Similarly, when we put theta equals to 90 degree, we will get sigma n equals to this time sigma x, not sigma y, and sigma t or tau equals to plus tau xy clockwise, this time by putting theta equals to 90 degree. And we will again check the plane which is the general plane, and after putting theta equals to 90 degree we will get this plane, and at this plane we know that we are applying sigma x. So similarly sigma n becomes sigma x and sigma t becomes plus tau, which is the clockwise direction of shear. So summary so far, and we know that normal stress we have derived is given by this equation. Shear stress which we have derived again tau, general expression for shear stress and normal stress is given by these equations as on the screen. Similarly sigma p1 is given, which is the maximum principal stress, by this equation. Minimum principal stress which we have derived also, sigma p2 is being given by this equation. We can also find the position of two principal planes that differ by 90 degree, that is tan 2 theta p plus minus 2 tau upon sigma x minus sigma y. So from this equation we can calculate theta p, and we will get two angles, one for theta p and one for 90 plus theta p. So this is the expression for calculating the position of principal planes. Similarly, we have also derived the expression for shear stress tau max equals to plus minus under root sigma x minus sigma y by 2 का whole square plus tau square xy, and position of two planes of maximum shear that differ by 90 degree is given by this expression, and theta s is the angle. Theta s is the angle of that plane where shear stress is maximum, and you can calculate the theta s by this expression plus minus sigma y minus sigma x upon 2 tau. Thanks. Please like, share and subscribe, and if you have any question, any comment, then you can comment on the comment box. Thank you very much.